Conversations.
Welcome to Gallatin Conversations. Today I'm sitting down with Maureen Horton, the sitting county treasurer. Hi, Maureen.
Hi, Josh.
Thank you for agreeing to sit down with me.
No problem.
So did you grow up? Did you grow up in the valley?
I did not. I actually grew up in Moscow, Idaho.
Oh,
And I met my husband when he was going to college there. Then he brought me over to Island Park, Idaho, of all places. And that's when we started trying to figure out where's the best place to go get some groceries, because there wasn't a whole lot in Island Park, Idaho. And that's when we started coming up to Bozeman area and getting to know it. So that was back in 1993. And, things have changed quite a bit since 1993 up here. But that's kind of how I was introduced to Bozeman. It was a good place to go shopping. There was good food, and we could afford it because there was nothing you can afford it in West Yellowstone and Island Park at that time, especially as young kids just getting started. So
it almost feels like that dichotomy has switched a little bit on the affordability.
yeah, no, Bozeman's gotten a little more expensive than it used to be. So once my husband finished up with college over in Moscow, he got his law degree, and we came back to the Bozeman area. We started off in Whitehall, and that's where we had our first child. And then we moved to Bozeman and Belgrade, actually, to get started. And we were in a duplex over there for quite some time. And I went back into banking, and Michael, my husband, went into working for the county actually, I think it was the state, because it was the 18th Judicial District for Judge Solani. And that's where he started, and I started in banking at that time. Then we moved along, and Michael opened up his own practice. And while he was being an attorney, I was moving up into banking. I started off as loan processing, and then I moved up to commercial loan processing, and spent about 10 years doing that. And then I moved on to work for Michael in about 2008 is when that came about. And mostly that was due to the fact that his bankruptcy practice went out of control because, as you know, in 2008, we had a bit of a recession around here. And so I spent 10 years working with Michael in his practice, doing the bankruptcy side and helping him in family law. And after that, I went into insurance for a little while. That was not my favorite thing to do. I was reading contracts, but I ended up moving along from there and started working for the Department of Revenue at the state. And I was working as a PVS. And then I moved along to becoming the cartographer in the Bozeman branch.
Oh, what is PBS?
Basically, we're the ones that were answering your phone calls, talking to you about how your taxes work. We also did all of the address changes and ownership changes. So we followed all of that. Once I moved up to the cartographer side, then I was also learning how to be an assessor as well. So I took all of the classes to become an assessor as well as the cartographer. So I definitely understand your taxes. When all of that was going on, Jennifer Blossom was in office at that time. Well, Kim Buchanan, when I first started, then Jennifer Blossom was in office. And when Jennifer announced that she was going to retire, I went ahead and went, well, I'm going to give this a shot. I understand taxes. So, and I have no problem working with the numbers, and I understand the law. So I thought all of those would really work to my benefit as the treasurer. So, and I've never been in politics before, so this has all been a completely new and interesting experience for me. was never planning on being a politician. So
Politics is hard. I've thought about it, but at the same time, I'm like, I like to solve issues, and politics is not just solving issues.
no,
No, it's not.
no, it's been very interesting with politics. There's politicking. I'm not a great politician. I am too honest for my own good, and I always stand up to a bully. So probably not my best qualities being a politician. But I'm still enjoying what I do, and I like to work with the people. We've got a lot of wonderful people in this area, and I want to help them and explain their taxes to them to the best of my ability, because not everybody understands how it works. Where does the money go? What does it get used for? Why are we collecting this amount? Why does my tax bill keep going up? Why did that happen? And I at least can explain it. I may not be able to take the heat on it because a lot of that is not my department. My department is at the end of the road. The DOR is the one that actually gets to assess your property, but I at least can explain how that works.
There's two ways that we could go right now, and I'd like to do both at some point.
Okay.
Because I do want to explain how property tax work to people, but I also want to know what the treasurer's responsibilities are supposed to be and what they currently are. Do you have a preference which way we go first?
Why don't we start with a little bit on how your taxes work, because things have changed, and I can give you a quick rundown, and then I'm going to have to stop because they changed so much that I'm still working on getting a calculator put together to be able to explain further to people. At this point, last year was fun. I like to get out, and I go out to the senior centers and to the Chamber of Commerce when I can, when they have availability. And I like to talk to as many people as possible. And last year, the senior center here in Bozeman, they made me get up on the chalkboard and explain how their taxes work because they changed so much. But the main thing you need to understand in the state of Montana is your taxes are we're a market value state. So what that means is every time somebody sells their home, the Department of Revenue gets a realty transfer certificate. And on that realty transfer certificate is an actual amount that the house sold for. But because we're a confidentiality state, they're the only ones that get that information. Nobody else is allowed that information. It's not going to be on your deed. It will not be being saved at the clerk and recorder's office. There's nothing like that. The only place that you're going to see that is at the state level. So they're allowed to use those numbers to come up with a very big database. And in that database, of course, we're going to have neighborhooding. We're going to figure out different ways to neighborhood out your personal home. So say that your house and the house next door were built in similar time frames, but your house has been remodeled and the other one has not. They're going to, the Department of Revenue does look at that and take it into account. So the house that's been renovated is going to be assessed with other houses within a neighborhood area that have been renovated. So if it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, this kind of square footage, they're going to try and find other homes that are renovated at the same time frame and are 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and square footage. That's what the DORs does with all of the information that they have. Now, your home and the home that hasn't been renovated are going to have two different market values. And a lot of people do not understand that. And it's based on what they believe the quality of the home is. And because it's been renovated, you've got new windows, you've got new floors. There could be different things other than the house next door that is still set up at builder grade. Mm-hmm. So that's what they're looking at. They're also using the market values, and they try to throw out the very high end where say it had that particular house had a bidding war and it climbed and climbed. They try to throw that really high end one out. They want more average. And so if there was one that mom and dad has passed away, the family just wants out of it and they drop the price so that they can move on, then that's undercut. So they try to throw that number out as well. So they want that middle average.
So they're trying to fit it to a normal distribution is what they're doing?
They're trying to make sure that it's average.
Yeah, okay.
It's fair and equitable across the state is how it's supposed to work.
Okay.
And you can't have fair and equitable if you've got one house that went crazy and one house that just got undercut. You got to get that middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where you get your market value. Now, once you have your market value on your home, for the longest time we were doing, you multiply that by your taxable value. We've changed that in the last 2 years.
Okay.
2 years ago, it was 1.35% for residential and 1.89% for commercial. But because this new legislation came out and this homestead exemption has come out, in 2025, they had a three tiers. And then you also had to find your effective tax rate. And to get that, there's another calculation that you do not see on the DOR's website. But once we were able to get that calculation, then we were actually able to match it up for people. A lot of people like to calculate their own taxes out and get an idea, and they were not getting there with what's just on the DR's website. So we had asked all of us treasurers for a calculator. Please help us so we can show people how to calculate this. And hopefully this coming tax season, we can have the DOR help us get that calculator. We're trying.
Mm-hmm.
But what has happened recently is this, the homestead exemption. To get the lower rate for your taxes, you had to have filed that if you live in your property. If you've been there, it's your primary residence is what they're asking. What we found out is that we're not giving people the benefit of the doubt. You have to file to get the lower rate. And I think that we're going to run into some issues with that because that would not be considered fair and equitable. I think that's kind of why there's more controversy about all of this out there. I'm not going to get into it because that's not my department. So this coming year, we're going to have a 4-tiered rates. And it's going to be a little more difficult to figure out, but it's not going to be that bad. And we're going to, at my office, try and get a calculator put together to help figure that out for people. We're not going to post it. It's going to be our internal calculator because we don't want people to think that we gave you everything you would need. So when it comes to that next step of the 4 tiers, like I said, we're going to have a calculator. We're going to do the best that we can to help everybody figure it out. If you did not do your homestead exemption where you got the $400 back, or you didn't do a long-term lease on your piece of property, anything along those lines, you may get hit with a higher rate. We don't know yet. We're still waiting to see what happens and what comes from the Department of Revenue, because we're the last ones to know. We're the last ones to know, and we're the ones that have to collect. So we get both ends of the spectrum of we're going to get yelled at. So, but we do our best to help people understand how it works. And, we are stuck with penalties and interest if you go past the deadline. And most people think it's a policy. I wish it was a policy. It's not. It is the law. It's Montana Code annotated. It is completely written out in stone. And I can't wave a magic wand and make it go away. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you're part of the executive branch. You execute. You don't get to write it.
Exactly. And, a lot of people don't understand that at first. Why don't we have leeway? Well, it's because the law is the law. And I'm sorry to tell you, that's the way I'm required to work with it. It's not that I I don't feel for people. There's a lot of folks that I wish I could just wave my magic wand, but I can't, because if I do, I can be the one that is being prosecuted. And I'm sorry, but I don't want to go to jail for anybody. So that's kind of where we're at this year with the taxes, and that's as far as I can go because we don't know more at this point. We know that it's going to be 4 tiers. We're gonna help as much as we can to help you figure out where you're at. But of course, mills and levies, we don't even know where they're going to be at until October because we're still getting everybody's budgets and so forth. So we're working on getting all of that calculated, but we're not going to have it calculated and ready to go before November. So
No.
it's just gotta be on that and keep going. So that's explaining the taxes, and it's not going to be easy this year, but we'll do our best.
It got a lot more complicated.
It
really fast.
really did. But I believe that I will be going out into the senior centers and to the chambers of commerce. I go out to the title companies, and we try to talk to everybody. We want to make sure everybody knows what their rights are when it comes to property tax relief and all of the programs that the Department of Revenue has, and we try to get you in those programs. Look, fill out the form, send it in. The worst they can do is tell you no.
Yeah, and if I had to take my guess, if I was a betting man, I'd bet that the legislature is going to pass another property tax law in 2027.
Well, I don't know what they're going to do.
I don't either, but if I was a betting man,
Yeah.
I would assume so.
Yeah, I'm sure that they're going to look at it again. Plus, we have to make sure it's within those boundaries of fair and equitable, because that's on the books, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. So we'll see.
So I've been looking into the history of what's been going on in the county government broadly coming into this interview. And well, not just this interview, but I was starting to look at it when I did the last interview with Coulter Metcalf. And so there's just so much. In 2018, right, they were doing a software transition. Is that when the software transition was 2018?
2019.
2019?
Yes.
Okay. So there was the software transition, and then you had a new treasurer at that time. You had some bad audits, and that resulted in the commission passing a resolution to pull the treasurer duties underneath the finance department, which is underneath the commissioners, right?
Correct.
That was in 2021, and you ran in 2022. So I guess my question is, what is the Treasury Department supposed to be, and what does it look like now?
Oh boy. Okay. So
Not a small question.
no, it's the big question. All right. So in 2021, Jennifer Blossom went through this transition with the commission, and the commission pulled 2 of her full-time employees out of her office, retired another person, and when they did that, they took all of the mandatory duties that were on Montana Code Annotated 76612. And if you sit down and you read 76612 is the enumerated mandatory duties of the treasurer. They removed those from her office and took them upon themselves. When they did that, the 2 people they took out of her office for full-time people, they started an accounting department. And that accounting department is still running those duties. There's a lot more to it. I could go into malfeasance and obstruction and all that, but what I'm not going to go there. Let's keep it at basic level.
On the Montana Code Annotated, I should probably give the viewers a note that Gallatin County operates under the constitutional form of county government. because there are other options, but we are under the constitutional form, which is where the treasurer gets these duties from.
Correct.
Okay.
So those mandatory duties, which are they're numerous. Those duties include the treasurer is the only one that can open and close accounts. The treasurer is actually informed by the commission to open and close accounts. It also explains the treasurer's duties when it comes to how you're supposed to handle the money, what you're supposed to be doing with the money, how you're supposed to deposit the money, how you're supposed to follow the money. Then there's also 7.6.2.12, which is about the investments. And the treasurer is supposed to be on your investments because the treasurer is the only one indemnified by the Montana Code Annotated to lose money for the county. So at this point, Gallatin County has changed enough since I came on board that they now have control of your money under the commission. They now have control of your elections under the commission and all of their other duties. They are using a county administrator to work with some of these items, but your county administrator is a contracted individual. They are not elected. The reason we have elected officials in place is because we have autonomy. The commission can't just walk into my office and say, you're going to do this. I have the right to go, no, according to my specific job and my oath of office, this is what I am required to do. I'm going to stay in my lane, you stay in your lane, and we'll all work together. It's supposed to be a team effort. It's not supposed to you usurp all of my power and take it upon yourselves.
It's appropriate checks and balances
And separation of duties.
in the county form of government.
Correct. So, and without separation of duties, nobody's there to verify that things are being done the right way unless you believe your county administrator is going to say no to the county commission who pays his paycheck. That would make me a little nervous.
Yeah.
But when I found out about this resolution, I went and looked at it. I listened to the transcripts. The first time the resolution was presented, that resolution went away when Marty said it needed to be rewritten. Marty was the Gallatin County attorney at the time. So the second time it was presented, if you listen to the transcripts, you can hear that Jennifer Blossom is in duress. She's crying when she gets her consent. So I believe that this never should have been done, but it's not up to me. I wasn't there at the time.
Yeah, that's in 2021.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So when I came into office in 2023, it took me 8 months to find out how to rescind this resolution that was put in place. And I did. We went through mediation using the county attorney and one of her deputies, one for each side. We tried to mediate the whole situation out. I wanted my duties back. The commission like it this way. And they've refused to give me the duties that are my responsibility as mandatory duties and enumerated duties back to my office.
So this question probably has different answers at different times. But if all of the treasurer duties are now under the commission and the finance department, what are they asking the treasurer to then do? If they have the duties over there, what are they asking the treasurer to do?
Well, we still collect the money. We still send out the bills. We get the ugly stuff. I was able to get the treasurer back at least on the investment committee so I can see what's happening with her investments. I made it very clear that when we got the duties back, that we were going to continue moving forward with the same people that they had in place. I wanted to just reabsorb my people that went to the accounting department and have it so that we did not have to talk to 4 different departments to figure out RIDs or TIF districts
What's
or the levy
RID?
districts. It's your when you have a subdivision and they have the roads that are worked on, and it's kind of like a loan
Okay.
that they're using from the county, and they have to pay a certain amount of money back every year so that they have the money to fix their own roads and so forth. And it's their own it's like their own mill levy situation in that particular subdivision. So we've got RIDs. Your TIF districts have to do with like downtown and 7th Street, where we're trying to rebuild. And when you're rebuilding, you don't use as many of they don't get taxed the same way.
Okay.
So there's a city gentleman that actually administrates that TIF district information.
Gotcha.
So then you've got your mills and your levies that are coming through when they're voted in, so forth. We have to make sure that's all on the bill. So we're handling the bills for personal property, cattle and sheep, mobile homes, real property. So that's kind of working with the DOR in that situation. We balance to the bank every single day. For the treasurer's office also handles the motor vehicle department. So I've got motor vehicle as well as the treasurer's office. And our motor vehicle has really changed quite a bit, but we'll go into that later. But the treasurer's office, we handle all the cash that comes in and make sure it gets put in the bank.
Okay. So as of now, the treasurer office is really only handling income or revenue for the county.
Correct.
Okay. Which is what the treasurer's office is supposed to do in part, but it's not all of the duties listed under the MCA. Okay. And so you said you got the 2021 resolution rescinded. Is that still the status?
The 2021 resolution, I withdrew consent
Okay.
because the prior treasurer cannot give my consent. They can only give their consent. Now, if I wanted to leave it that way, I would not have rescinded the consent. I withdrew my consent. And that's when everything is going a little bit nutty. I have tried numerous ways to put my deputies back onto the checking accounts. And I was informed that when I did that I had threatened the banks. And at that time, 2 new resolutions were put on the books. One of them referencing the prior resolution that has been withdrawn.
Okay.
Once it's withdrawn, you can't reuse it. It doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know who wrote these resolutions, and I couldn't tell you who wrote them. I don't believe it was the county attorney's office.
But they passed.
The commission passed them even when I gave my rebuttal that what they're doing is illegal.
So what do the new resolutions do?
They're keeping all of the stuff that they had before in their offices without consent or without mutual agreement.
Okay, so if I'm gathering this correctly, you correct me if I'm wrong, the Treasury Department has no access or control over the county bank accounts.
I have read-only access. I believe my staff has more access to the accounts than I do.
Okay.
I've tried to put my staff members on to being able to even make deposits. And to do that, I have to go through the accounting and commission to get that done. So that's considered obstruction. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
I'm just trying to take this all in. I actually and the certified bookkeeper, actually. And so I'm just trying to think through the process of how this works. Because there are accounting standards that you have to abide by. Like you have to have your books reconciled usually every month. You have to have like there's processes for how these things work so that everything balances nice when you get your financial documents.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, I'm just trying to think, how does that work when you're dealing with 4 or 5 different departments?
And that is one of the reasons why they haven't had a clean reconciliation since 2018.
Mm. So the county hasn't been able to reconcile their books since 2018.
They have not been turning in their bookkeeping to the Department of Administration in a timely manner. And there's actually a document from the Department of Administration stating that the last time it was before 2018, that we've been off since 2018 up until just recently. And it's mostly due to the fact that we've changed CFOs, and the new CFO and his deputy, as well as the comptroller, are finally really working with our office, the treasurer's office, so that everybody understands what everybody's doing. Our office was finally able to get read-only access to what the accounting office was doing, so that we can say, no, that's not what we told you. This is what we're trying to tell you. And once we finally started doing that, we just recently got down to the penny on cash reconciliation. And it's what, 2026
Mm-hmm.
tax year?
So you guys have finally been able to reconcile everything?
We've gotten one
One.
down to the penny.
Okay, one account or one?
One cash reconciliation. I haven't heard about the rest of the accounts. Working on that. I do know that the 2023 outside audit was done. We did it as they did it as a disclaimer, and they may do the same with 2024. I don't know.
So 2019 was a disclaimer of opinion, and 2023 just got published, and it's a disclaimer of an opinion.
Correct.
Of opinion.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean for the people in Gallatin County? Like, what does a disclaimer of opinion mean, and what are the effects?
I don't know,
You don't know?
a lot about that, partly due to the fact that I'm not involved.
That's the auditors.
No, I don't even believe the auditor was really involved in that. I believe that was our CFO and our financial department. I didn't even see the outside auditors for this particular audit. At least when I first came on board, I did at least get to meet the outside auditors for that audit.
Man, I'm trying to get things to connect. It's a lot of information.
Yes.
So I'm trying to have a new question that makes any sort of sense. So in 2024, those new resolutions passed, correct?
Correct.
24. Okay, so in 2024, they passed new resolutions that replaced the old ones. So you're only collecting tax revenue. You're only seeing accounts on a read-only basis.
I'm only seeing accounts on a read-only basis. I believe my staff gets more leeway than
Okay. So how does that? So you're getting information from RID. You're getting information from TIF. You said 4 or 5 different things that all go into how the revenue is calculated and then collected. So is that being manually inputted in order to? Because if you're on read-only base, how is that getting integrated into the software? In order.
So the Muse software does not. The Muse software and the Tyler Technology software are both owned by Tyler Technology, so TaxWise and Munis. which is what we're using right now. And what we've been receiving is we get to all of the assessed values, all of the new addresses, everything from the Department of Revenue. That's updates that part. And then when it comes to RIDs, mills, levies, so forth, we were receiving from the prior CFO a spreadsheet, and then we would enter that into our system.
Okay. That is curious because I tried to do some due diligence before these conversations.
Right.
And there was a Big Sky Fire District tax error
Yes.
that expanded 4 years, if I'm correct,
Yes.
and cost to the Gallatin County part of the Big Sky Fire District $8.3 million extra in taxes paid.
That's correct.
And in the reports that I saw, it said that, or Jim Dorr had said that it was a spreadsheet error.
Correct.
So that error came across. Part of this is before your time because 2022 is when the first overtaxation occurred,
Right.
and you got elected in 2023. So that issue was an improper spreadsheet that came from the CFO.
Correct. And the CFO is directly under the county administrator and your commissioners. So my question is who's checking our numbers?
If anybody, maybe nobody was.
Exactly. I would like you to know the person that caught it was the treasurer from Madison County.
Oh, really?
She's saying you are overtaxing our people. And until it gets fixed, I'm not charging them that much. This is what I believe it needs to be. And that's when it was finally figured out that they'd been being overtaxed for 4 years.
And they found that in 2025.
Correct.
Okay. So we've had two disclaimer of opinions, which, if I understand disclaimer of opinions correctly, means that the auditor will not affirm that the numbers on the report are accurate. It's just the best numbers that they have.
They were refusing to do even that until we could prove that our numbers looked better for the Department of Administration. They were not going to do 2023 audit until that all came down the pipe.
I'm just trying to comprehend the level of, I guess the only term is mismanagement of finances. I'm trying to understand how the county can budget, how they can know, like, because if you're not reconciling to the bank and you're not passing audits because you're not reconciling to the bank, how the county knows how much money they have to spend going into each year.
Great question.
And you don't know because you're getting all your information from other departments.
I only get my information. Well, I do pull down my own personal budget out of Munis,
Yeah.
and I can verify my numbers to my department.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they were doing it with the CFO.
Yeah.
So that's a very good question.
If I wanted to have a better understanding of all this, are the commissioners the best people to talk to understand?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. So, I'm sorry.
The reason I wouldn't be able to tell you that is we've got a brand new CFO. Our new deputy underneath him has only been there for 3 months. They're still trying to figure out budgeting. We went through a big budgeting meeting today.
Okay.
And we're still trying to figure it all out. The commission and the finance committee have an idea of what new and expanding could be for 2027. Whatever comes up with 2026 numbers here at the end of from the DOR. That's new and expanding. They also are working, we do try to make sure that there's some cash reserves, so forth and so on. And it is a big undertaking to figure all of that out. And if you asked for the treasurer's books right now, I couldn't get them to you because they're spread out that much. So I don't even know where to go to get them all.
Gotcha. They're just spread out between different departments or employees.
Yep.
Because I'm having a hard time fully. Every time I try to dig into this, it just kind of makes your brain spin.
Yes.
So because my brain is spinning, I thought, well, let's talk about how the DMV is in the Treasurer's Department. But before we do that, is there anything else that you want to tell the voters or the people about the Treasurer's duties or the finances before we move on to the DMV?
I think we've covered as much as we can
Okay.
on the treasurer's duties and finances. I have asked for help from other avenues. I have talked to the AG's office and said, this is what's going on. How do I move forward? How do I get help with this? I have talked to an attorney, and we did get a letter out of our attorney. But when we were going to move forward with a declaratory judgment and try to actually go for the lawsuit, I don't have 20 grand in my pocket, and I was not able to raise 20 grand to give to this gentleman so that we could move forward, because he believes that's what it was going to cost. I have proof that your county commission has used the general fund to pay for their attorney against me. Your county attorney's office has conflicted of interest completely out of this situation, but has jumped back in more than once.
That's a good place to explore. I didn't mean to cut you off, but you can keep going. But I'm just curious. So the county attorney is Cromwell, correct? I am a little curious on her judgments, or when she is jumping in, what those judgments.
She jumped in two situations with the banks.
Okay.
One with the fact that I said, look, I want my people to be back onto the accounts per our own financial policies. And I was informed by the banks that they do not work for the treasurer. They work for the commission. My question is okay, then why does it say Gallatin County Treasurer on every single checking account, every single savings account? Because the Gallatin County Treasurer is the only one that can open and close accounts.
Okay, well, that all of a sudden, I might be getting too far ahead of myself. How many people come into the Treasurer's Department, assuming that with issues that aren't like, because it's on the check, because they when they have issues with these checks or the county, how often are they coming to the Treasury Department for those answers?
Well, they're not typically coming to the Treasurer's office, and the reason for that is that your county administrator has taken all of the checks and had them removed from the Treasurer's office because they believe that we would be committing fraud with those checks. So the only way that anybody is getting paid from Gallatin County is through the warrants process.
Okay. I laugh because I don't know how else to react, honestly, to some of this. Okay, to go back. So I interrupted you before you got to the second time Cromwell jumped in.
Right. She jumped in with the banks as well as the investments.
Okay.
And her office wrote a letter to each of those, and I've got copies of all of that.
Okay, so the investments department. This is a separate department currently under the commission, but it's separate from the finance department under the commission, I believe. So what are investment? What's the job? Why is the treasurer? What is the treasurer supposed to do with investments?
When it comes to investments, the treasurer is actually has a list of duties that we're supposed to verify that investment matches with the Montana Code annotated and what we're allowed to do. The investment policy before was underneath the treasurer's office. The new investment policy is actually written almost identical to the prior policy, but they took a quote out of the Montana Code annotated, and they removed the word treasurer and put in CFO.
So they're misquoting MCA code in their resolutions?
Correct.
Isn't the county attorney supposed to catch that?
The county attorney has been informed of this and refuses to put anything in writing back to me about it. What I was told is, how do you know that they're using county money for those investments?
Well, whose other money would they be using?
Thank you. That's my question.
It's not like they're personally putting their money up.
I would hope not.
I would doubt it.
But it could be out of schools. It could be out of other areas, but that's still, the county is responsible for that money.
So what are the function of those investments? Are those investments supposed to make the county money, or are they supposed to be like collateral for something? Or
What we're looking for mostly on investments is that it makes a decent interest rate.
okay,
And there's a lot that goes into it. There's bonds, there's CDs. We also have the short-term investment through the state. So there's numerous ways for us to put our money out there. The other thing we also have to be very careful of is we have to work within the federal guidelines. We can't have all of our eggs in one basket. It's kind of, you see the Federal Reserve sign on the outside of your bank. Mm-hmm. You can only have this much money in the bank because that's all that they'll insure if they ever got robbed or something happened.
That amount is $250,000, right? That's the FDIC insurance limit?
I think it was $250, but I think on business stuff it can be different.
Okay.
Like, it's been a while since I sat down and did that. That's back when Check 21 came out, for crying out loud. Asked me to go back 20 years.
So the investments are literally just a place to park money to generate a safe return that hopefully outpaces inflation.
Correct.
Just proper management of basic money.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So, want to hear about motor vehicle?
Sure. Let's go to the DMV.
I have to say, I am really, really excited about what has happened in my 4 years with motor vehicle. When I first started with them, we were short-staffed. It was not long after COVID. Things were wild and crazy. Kim Buchanan had opened up a satellite office, and it hadn't been remodeled for a while. They do as much work as we do in the courthouse out at that satellite office with fewer people. And it's due to the fact that we get a lot of fleets out there. But so I've got about 20 people altogether that are working in the motor vehicle department, and they are a great group. They try to stay positive. They want to work with people. It's been really good. when we first started, we had the Merlin processing for our software, and holy cow, was it antiquated. So within the first 2 years, I found out that we were going to be going to a new system. So that's been a bit of a pull to get that all to come together. The state had to work with us. We had to work with them. New computers and scanners and printers. It's all of the software and what we need to make it work for the state of Montana. And that has actually come together, and it has been really good. And part of the reason why it's doing so well is instead of us going and finding the paperwork, we're able to front end load it.
What does that mean?
So we can take that paperwork, we can scan through it and go, okay, we've got the signatures, we've got the right VIN number, we've got the right name, we can scan it in immediately. And so when the people come in to get their title and registration, we can pull it up by the VIN number. We used to have to try and find it by their name. And if they did it in their business name, it could take us 15 minutes to find it because they didn't tell us their business name until we come back and go, we can't find it under your name. Is there any other name you might have put it under? And then we find out it's under the business name and we can go find it. There has been times where things were filed under the word "the." We're really working on making sure that doesn't happen anymore. But with us being able to scan all the paperwork in prior to you coming in, it means we can just process. You bring in your driver's license, you bring in your proof of residency, and we move right through the process. And because of the way that this works, it used to be 6 to 8 weeks to get your title. We now, within the week, we verify that the paperwork was done correctly, and we go ahead and let the state know that the title is ready to go. And people are getting their titles within 2 weeks.
That's impressive relative to the old time frame.
Yeah, and wait times. Wait times have been cut probably in 2/3. It used to be 2 hours, and now tops most people are waiting a half an hour.
Not gonna lie, I haven't been to the DMV in a long time.
I don't blame you. Also, there's more availability of being able to change things online. You can now change your address online. You can order personalized plates online.
I didn't have to go in to renew my license.
Your driver's license? I don't do driver's licenses.
Oh, I thought that was in the DMV.
Nope, we're the Department of Motor Vehicles. That's the Motor Vehicle Department. Or is it the opposite? It's one of those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. To get your driver's license, you need to go over to Gilkerson.
Okay.
And we do try to let everybody know that before you actually come walking up to talk to us. We do our best.
Did it used to be out of that state? No.
No.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just conflating it in my mind.
Yes.
Got it.
You got it mixed up. But that's okay.
Just titles.
You're not the only one.
Just titles.
Just your license plates.
Okay.
And if you
okay. Yeah,
if you weren't a your license,
I haven't done registration in a while either because I hated registration so much that when I've needed to buy a vehicle, I only buy vehicles that at the time that I bought them, the rule was, I think 10 years.
11 years.
Or 11 years. I think at the time when I got my first one, it was 10 and then it changed. I can't keep track, but I buy old vehicles so I get permanent registration. I never have to go back.
I understand. But no, it's been really good. We were able to do a small remodel out at the Belgrade office. When I first came on board, it was set up so that our people were lying straight across, and then all the chairs had their backs to the window, and you looked at each other and stared each other down. That was too hard. We couldn't keep that up. But when we made the remodel, we were able to get one more person out there.
Oh, nice.
So not having just 4 people, we had 5. And we actually got a TV out there with the most boring program on the face of the planet, but it does explain traffic circles. And we have it set up so you have a TV. The Belgrade office also has a camera on the tickets and the number of where we're at on the tickets. So if you come in, you grab your ticket and you want to run out and go grab a cup of coffee, as long as you're back before your ticket comes up, you're still in line.
Nice.
So and you can see the camera. So it's been really good. Like I said, we get a lot of our fleets out at the Belgrade office. Every once in a while, I've heard that there's one person that likes to bring them donuts. And I believe we get brownies every once in a while in our office. There's a bunch of people that like to bring us in some brownies. It's nice that there's a good group of people that comes through. You know, we do get an occasional person that's having a rough moment, and we do our best to keep smiling and get them through the process. Some people just have never had to do title and registration in the state of Montana before, and we do our best to make sure they understand how it works. Right now, what's really, really amazing is our IT department is working with us right now to update all of our websites.
Okay.
I'm super excited about this. I noticed that our motor vehicle department's website, it has 4 different places to find frequently asked questions. And there's so much information on there that nobody has time to read it all. So we're going to try and break that up into pieces, make it smaller, make it easier and more friendly to use. But the best part about our website is you can see both the cameras at any time. So you can figure out which office you want to run to depending on how many people are in line, which is great. And
That is good.
our information window is open. That is my favorite thing ever. Our information window, when you come into the main courthouse, the gals at that information window can do some of the minor work, such as temporary license plates, so that kind of thing. They can do some corrections for titles right at that window. So you do not have to wait in line. You do not have to go to the renewals window. You can have a spot where you can get some minor things done right there and then you can be on your way. Plus, they let you know where everything is available in the courthouse, where the clerk and recorder is, where you drop off your ballot. We try to have the questions answered right there. So
Nice.
it's kind of cool. So they're learning a lot too. Like, where do you get your marriage license? Where do you get your birth certificate? So lots of interesting stuff goes through that window.
Yeah. I would imagine so, because when you first start out, nobody teaches you about the county government. Nobody teaches you where to go get this stuff unless you had a parent that did it.
Right. And jury duty.
Yeah.
There's 2 different places to go.
Yeah.
So which jury? we only need to be late. We do not want you to get a warrant. So kind of give us a little help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which jury?
So this is a little bit of a backtrack.
Sure.
To the finances a little bit. I would like, just as a citizen, I would like it fixed. How would that, so if the county's having lots of fiscal issues, really, is it mostly government organization?
I've been trying to figure out how to move forward myself. I don't have an attorney at this point. That I had the one letter written. I did the best I could with what I had. So I have talked to numerous other departments, such as our auditor, our Secretary of State never got back in touch with me. But some of the areas on what can I do to keep moving this forward so that we can get it put back the way it's supposed to be. I want to work with the finance department. I do, but the problem is that when I asked to be able to balance the books, it was told no. I wanted more information about how our accounts worked, and said I was basically kind of told, well, we always have this much money in the bank. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry, that's not how that's supposed to work. it shouldn't be working that way. And I know that other counties do have finance departments that are handling more of the accounting and so forth, but the treasurer is still involved. And that's where I want to be is okay, let's make some compromises. But at this point, I don't see that happening. So I had been informed that the best thing we can do is when legislation opens back up, ask the audit committee to perform an audit. And I don't know who's on the audit committee. I'm working on finding out. I have asked several people that are at that legislative level on where I go to talk to them. And if I have to, I will walk up to the legislative committee in Helena and say, I need your expertise. We need some help. We've got a problem.
Okay. I guess so. My follow-up question is, if we wave a magic wand and the commission gives you all your duties back and your employees back that should be under your department according to the law, will that fix the problems, or are there additional problems that are there?
I don't know.
You don't, because it's all under the commissioners, so
Right.
you don't get to see it.
Exactly. Now, I do have several people out there that would like to help me once we're able to get things put back into place. There's other treasurers out there that would like to be able to work with me and get some items fixed, especially current treasurers. I do know that there's a couple of treasurers that have retired that would probably be willing to come in and go, okay, let's get things back on track. These are all the things you need to know. But until I actually can get my hands back on to the actual books that belong in the treasurer's office, I don't know how I'm going to pull that off.
Gotcha. So all of that said, it sounds like it's been difficult and it's been a fight. You're running for a re-election. Why are you running for re-election? Like, what's inspiring you to keep going?
I actually like the people I work with. You know, I've got a great group of people in the motor vehicle department. I have wonderful people over in the treasurer side. Um, we're all in this and wanting to do the right thing. And that's my biggest issue is I want to fix it and put it back to rights. I want to do the right thing by the government. And as I said, I'm a terrible politician. I'm too honest. And I want things to work the way they're supposed to work. I've worked within the law. I want to stay working within the law, and I do not want to. I want the Gallatin County to be back to where it's supposed to be. I want to see us get all of our fiscal information in on time. I would like to see the cash reconciliation being done on time and turned in. Right now, we're being investigated by the Department of Administration, and until we actually comply with everything they want for the period of time that the Department of Administration wants, we could run into problems where there's no monies being passed through. So the pass-through monies that are supposed to come from the state to the county can be stopped at any time if we are not staying up with these cash reconciliations and these audits that are on the books.
And they're investigating the county, not specifically the treasurer department. They're
Correct.
the entire county.
Yes.
Okay. So right now, okay, so if they don't do it on time, we lose all our state funding. How do you know how much state funding is required for like the schools? Like, because I know that our property tax pays a lot for the schools.
Well, you remember the whole thing with the 95 mills?
Uh,
A couple of years back?
with the Big Sky Fire District?
No, the 95 mills.
No, I don't.
Okay, a couple of years back, the 95 mills is how the state calculates how much millage is supposed to go to the schools. A few years back, your county government found out the calculator that they use. And come to find out, the schools only needed 0.79 mils. And, or is it was 79 mils. And the state government has always been charging the 95. So we refused to bill for the whole 95 because we were trying to save Gallatin County it was 46 out of, no, it was more than 46. It was about 50 out of 56 counties all got on board.
Okay.
So that's quite a bit.
Yeah.
But the governor sued Missoula County, and the Supreme Court came back with they may charge the whole 95 mils. So we ended up, all of the counties ended up rebilling to get up to that 95 mils. So yes, it would affect your schools. It's going to affect motor vehicle. It's going to affect everything.
So how much of the county money or the county revenue, like, does how much of the county revenue does it collect itself and then keep, or how much of it is going through the state and then coming back?
I might not.
Okay. Under the finance department?
Yes.
That's brutal. There's a lot of questions there that need answered,
Yes.
because if the state stops pass through, I would like to know that number. Should write that down.
It's a pretty interesting story, isn't it?
It's a very big story, and it's spanned almost a decade from the start, back when we first started having cash reconciliations back in 2018 to now. It's almost a decade, which is a crazy long time to not have any cash reconciliation, like to have continual cash reconciliation process
Issues, yes.
going back 8 years at this point. I don't even know how to grasp that, because like, if you were a company and you did that,
Oh,
you'd be in jail.
they would have fired that bookkeeper.
Oh, long ago.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe not jail. Jail might be too strong.
A little bit, but they wouldn't be working there.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, if the company let it keep going, then there definitely would have been some legal consequences. So
Other counties actually, their treasurers have been written up for that kind of stuff. And I believe it's through the Department of Administration. And several counties have had to find those things and fix them. And, but I don't know how we're getting away with what we're getting away with.
I'd ask you one more question, but I think the answer is going to be it's in the finance the finance department. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about or cover before I ask the final question?
Sure. Right now, I'm having a bit of an issue with the homestead exemption. It was not advertised well for our mobile home folks in this county. When we got the download from the Department of Revenue, 65% of our mobile home people are going to be charged at 1.9% this year. And part of that is that our mobile home people don't have a voice up at legislation. It was not advertised well. A lot of the folks with mobile homes didn't realize that mobile, because there was something about real estate on the form that they thought it had to be a real estate thing. These are the things that I'm finding out while I'm going out to the senior centers and talking to some of the folks that are in mobiles. We're advertising that we're going out to help them verify that they are on the homestead exemption. And if they're not, we're taking forms out so we can set them up on the 2027 homestead exemption. So I do not believe that in Gallatin County that 65% of our mobile homes are commercial. I don't see where we're doing VRBOs out of them. I can see them being long-term leases, where they're being rented out to somebody. That maybe there is a landlord that has 6 or 7 of them, but I believe that landlord is got them long-term rentals. I don't believe that we're just running around having commercial mobiles.
Yeah, it would surprise me to have a large commercial investment investing in mobiles. I agree with you. That doesn't make a lot of
It
sense.
doesn't make any sense, and a lot of these homeowners of mobiles don't understand why they would have needed to apply for the homestead exemption to get the lower rate. And they're not wrong. I spoke to my own mom about what was going on. She goes, "Well, honey, I would never have signed up for it." And I said, "Well, why wouldn't you have signed up for it?" "Because I would have thought it was a scam." And I'm like, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah, honey, I don't trust some of my doctor's offices anymore. The banks scare me. The big government scares me. And it's partly due to the fact that a lot of our elderly are getting targeted. And it scares them. So why would they want to get involved with more government to get the lower rate if they don't understand it?" So I am getting out to the senior centers. I'm going to try and get out to the mobile home parks and really try to explain it to folks and get them signed up, because I don't want this to happen again the following year. And with the way the law is written, everybody that's hit with this 1.9% cannot get any relief until 2027 because of the way it was written in the law. And we just sent out the mobile home bills. So all of these folks with mobiles are going to have to pay the whole thing and put in a protest.
So that's something to talk to your legislature about. Whoever your state legislator is.
And I've already started explaining that to all my mobile home folks, and they're ready to make those phone calls. So we'll see where things go. I even have to get down to West Yellowstone because there's quite a population of mobiles down there as well. So glad I have family down there. At least I have a place to stay.
Yeah, that works out. So the final question I've been trying to ask everybody is, what is the one piece of wisdom or a principle or a value you hope the next generation of Montanans never forget, and why?
Well, everybody wants to live in Montana. It's beautiful here. A little cold. Don't forget we're going to have snow in July. But if you're gonna follow your dreams, follow them. And a lot of people, this is their dream, is being here. And I came with my husband, but it's beautiful here, and this was a great place to raise my family. And my kids are ready to spread out and go see more of the state. They want to have more of that hometown feel. Bozeman doesn't have it quite the way it used to, but we still are. We're pretty wonderful here. We don't have the same kind of crime that we've got in other areas, and I'm glad for that. And, if you're going to run to be a politician, it's going to take courage, and you better be willing to actually step up in front and talk to people.
Keep Montana the last best place.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you
You're welcome.
sitting down.
No problem.